Hey friends, Justin here with a review of the brand new FX show called Reservation Dogs. I just finished episode 1 and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting for so many reasons, and the more I think about it, the more reasons I think it's interesting. So I wanted to jump on. I recently crossed 100 subscribers. So I wanted to come on and celebrate with you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and commenting, and it's just awesome. I feel really honored. So this is a cool show. It's called Reservation Dogs. It's a play on Reservoir Dogs, a movie that came out about 30 years ago. And it follows the story of 4 Indigenous teenagers who are doing absolutely anything they can to get out of Kansas and to get to, and it's described in the description of the show, to get to the mythical faraway land of California. So they've decided in their life experience, and probably through watching TV and just living, that Kansas ain't it, and let's, as soon as we can, let's get on the first thing smoking to California. They're 15, 16 years old. So along their journey, some of these, some of the robbing and some of the mischief that they get into, it starts to backfire on them. And they start to be confronted with consequence and duty and honor. What does it actually mean to be a man? And it's so interesting that so many parts of the Indigenous diaspora were covered in this one really funny, whimsical, lighthearted episode. Taika Waititi, his production company, is responsible for the show. I don't know if he was a writer. I'm going to have to look back. I thought I saw his name a couple of times in the credits. So he may be a writer and perhaps, a producer and director as well. But I'm going to have to get clarification. But really skilled the way that he's weaving humor and culture and everything that's kind of going on with the Native American community. But anyway, along the way, along these mishaps that they cause for themselves, really, they are growing up and they are seeing the impacts of what they're doing on their own community. And before they've gotten enough money in this first episode to raise enough funds to get out of town, this overwhelming sense of duty and sense of family and community and protection starts to take them over little by little. And by the end of the first episode, they're basically a gang in the Res Dogs that are there to be protectors of their own people. They've realized that the bad that they've put out in the world so far really hasn't gotten them anywhere. So it's interesting, now they've decided, and at such a young age, that they're going to take on ownership of responsibility of family and community and things like that. They touch on so many different things in this first episode, how rampant depression is among Native and Indigenous cultures. They talk about some of the careers and sometimes the lack of options for some of these groups. Our main character's dad is known as an out-of-work rapper. So it's interesting to me, on one side, they've kind of bought into Americanism. Let's go to California and live out our American dreams. On another end, they bought into, this hip-hop culture, Americanized hip-hop culture. And not positive Indigenous rap. It's kind of the low vibration, swear every couple words, hip-hop. So what that tells me is that the indigenous culture or native cultures in our country are just like the black culture, are very mixed. They're very jumbled. It's a hodgepodge of American ideas, and it's really a fascinating character study, or a culture study. The reason I'm really excited about this and wanted to move forward is I've recently kind of forayed into a lot of Native American and indigenous film. I started years and years ago with Smoke Signals, recently watched Dance Me Outside and Simply Native and some of the other movies that are out there, and I want the conversation to continue. We have to know the condition of our brothers and sisters in this country in order to move forward. We have to know where each other are coming from, to humanize one another in order to make any progress. And the indigenous community is one that needs to make a lot of progress, So I'm hoping this humanizes the community, this show, the Res Dogs. It's really funny. It's really insightful. They did so much in the first episode that I think anyone can kind of get a nice picture of what's going on. I'm excited to move forward. They actually released 2 episodes at one time. So I'm going to go back and watch episode 2. If it's just as fabulous, because I got choked up in episode 1, if it's just as fabulous as episode 1, I'll be back for episode 2 to kind of talk about it. I'm going to tweet about it and kind of start a conversation on social media about this show, because we kind of have to support these kind of shows so that they get greenlit in the future and we can continue the conversation. You start in one place with sometimes a lot of tropes and stereotypical things that you may not always think are perfect, but then you can dive into more complex stories and kind of move the conversation and the ball forward. And that's what I'm a proponent of. And so, guys, this is one I recommend for anyone to watch. Leave this video a like if you will. Please comment if you are considering watching Reservation Dogs, or if you have. And tell me what you think. I thought it was really funny. And as always, guys, until next time, cheers, and see you soon.